All right. We good, I think. G'day if you're watching. Sweet. It took me a little while to work that out, but I got it going. Sorry for the delay, but g'day Jake as well. Um, I've got it on here, so yeah, that's going. Now, what I'm going to do in this, and thanks for watching this back if you're just watching the replay. You might want to skip forward a little bit if you want to, but appreciate you dropping by. So what the plan is just to look at some of the old former footy ground videos. Just like some people might not have seen them. G'day, Super Footy Sirens. How's it going? So just looking at some of the old videos and just telling a few stories about going to the grounds and whatever else. I will need to make sure the audio works. So if we get into a video, you need to tell me if this
Former
works.
footy grounds. Here's Eden
Can you
Hope in
hear
Western Victoria, where the Bombers
me
played until
and the video?
1971. The showgrounds oval was deemed too wet and muddy, so a new ground was developed. Here you can see the new oval is just next door. It was originally cleared scrub land, which was used for a dump. The new oval wouldn't have any drainage issues.
Good.
At the showgrounds, there's the cattle yards, the poultry shed, and the sheep shed is up.
Right. Bro, this is annoying. How do I get... Sweet. So, I have to pull chat up on my phone. I think you need two monitors to do this well. G'day, J Tomo. Thanks. We got a few joining. That's awesome. So we'll start off with a better one.
Former footy grounds. Here's Tempe, where Mallee Football League games were hosted until 2000. Tempe was
so a lot of the old former footy ground videos, former footy grounds, are in the Mallee. So this is Victorian Mallee, and they sort of like played it sparingly here until 2000. And this ground is used for cricket. So it doesn't look too bad.
It was originally short for Temporary Railway Siding, but they just kept the nickname. Tempe played as a standalone team until
There's actually a primary school there
when
as
they
well.
merged to become Tempe Goya. Then in 71 they merged again to become Tempe Goya.
Says TGP there. They were you love the Tempe one. Have you been there? So Super Footy is Eddie. He does a lot of former footy ground videos as well. 2000 jumper. One mon. Yeah, that's right, Jake. Yeah, Quambatook isn't too far away, I suppose. So this says TGP, which was Tempe Goya Pachiwalik. So Tempe Goya Pachiwalik. It was a merger of like I can't remember off the top of my head, like 8 clubs or something. This weekend, unreal.
And games were hosted between Tempe
I
and
haven't been there.
Pachiwalik. Don't know why it says JC on the scoreboard. Up the top, the sponsor
It's a
is
very
Robertson
good
and Son.
scoreboard.
Robertson is a famous family in Tempe. This dry zone is interesting because it looks like
Obviously
a
the
bar to
bar.
me. The most notable player would be Trevor Poole, who won a
they
best
do have the
and fairest for
goalpost
Richmond
there.
and played for Victoria. The cricket nets look kind of new, and that's because the Tempe Tigers still play in the Red Cliffs Cricket Association today.
This was filmed November 2023, and I think my filming's got a little bit better since then, but it's still not amazing, but I think it would be a little bit better now. I had too many moving shots. Yeah, fair enough. This one, I wouldn't say, I'd say another one is better.
Tempe originally wore green with a...
TGP play between Tempe and Pachiwalik, and Pachiwalik is like a more interesting ground. Okay, sorry, I'm a bit loud. If I'm talking over it. Okay, let me know how this is.
Gold V, and then became the Saints after their mergers. In 97, they merged to become Orient United, and today...
So this is Orient United here, and that's all the clubs down the bottom are all the clubs that Orient United are made of. So they still play today in the Sunraysia League, but the league that Tempe played in, Tempe Goya Pachiwalik, that league doesn't exist anymore.
Orient United is said to represent over 40 clubs. Orient United would play their last game here in 2000, and sadly the Mallee League doesn't exist anymore at all. They play up in Mildura's Sunraysia League. There's even a bar at the other entrance. It would have been easy to find.
But that was only a minute video. Probably should have... Okay, thanks for that, Jake. Appreciate the helping out, because I'm still trying to work this all out myself. But I should have made it longer than a minute, because considering like how far I drove to get there. But anyway,
Former footy grounds. Memorial
So this one here is filmed end of last year, and Ocean Grove down near Geelong.
Reserve in Ocean Grove is one of those grounds which is still used for junior football but hasn't been used for seniors since 2015. So the Grubbers still use this ground. I think the name originated from a grub road, but the logo is a
That so Ocean Grove, the still play the Grubbers, like they're like swans, but I said that they were like because of Grub Road, but then apparently that's not true. I can't recall why. Maybe like it's like might be one of those things that people don't actually know why it's been such an old name or whatever.
One. The club started out as Ocean Grove Barwon Heads in 1962 in the Geelong and District League. Ocean Grove separated only a few years later, and because the two towns are only separated by a bridge, they play in a battle of the bridge to
This it's really weird going there because like there's two towns, Ocean Grove and Barwon Heads, and it's literally like right next to each other. Like it should be the same town. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. Literally
Ocean
the
Grove
bridge,
had
you
to
go
wait
across
until
the
the
bridge.
90s and 2000s to be a strong team in the Bellarine. Their four-peat in the 90s was coached by Brendan McCartney, future Bulldogs coach, and three of the four-peat flags in the 2000s were coached by future Melbourne coach Mark Neild. But you won't find any of those premierships in the Memorial Reserve club rooms. They seem fairly...
So somehow, this is really weird, a local footy club had two future AFL coaches before they coached in the AFL. Like, well, I just said that, but you know what I mean. Like that's really weird. Usually, like an old coach, whatever, would go to local footy afterwards. But I mean, it sometimes happens, but it's pretty good achievement, even though those guys weren't really that successful in the AFL itself.
Empty. Even though it's not a major ground anymore, the ground has still had some recent upgrades with new light towers installed. But what was puzzling is that there were no netball courts to be found at all. When the club moved to the new ground, they were demolished for housing. Thankfully, it was recent enough for Google Maps, and we can see they used to have two netball courts there across the road from the footy ground. What was also missing was
So I went to this ground with the guy from Ripper and Fipper, Jack, his name is. And he reminded me like where the netball courts were because like when I went there I was like I wasn't sure if they had netball or not because like some like Geelong's like or this isn't Geelong but you're getting close to Geelong. It's sort of like sometimes netball isn't associated with football but yeah he reminded me like those houses across the road that's where the netball court was. I wasn't doing a street talk type segment upcoming for local footy grounds interviewing players. That is something I have been thinking about, Jake. So it's funny how you mentioned that, but it would probably, I'm thinking it would do best at finals games, just because like I just like knowing what the sort of vibe is. I think finals games would be the best place to do it. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
the old scoreboard, but sadly this was burnt down in 2021. And now there's just a patch of dirt
Bloody
where it once
grubs.
would have been. Thankfully, they filmed a lot of local footy around Geelong.
Why would
and
you
can
burn
see
down
the
the
footage from the
scoreboard? You can
last
see
game
the
where the
scoreboard
scoreboard
there.
was. But what I liked is that they did a presentation with all of the club's jumpers over the years. The original purple jumper was worn from 1962 to 67 when they were with Barwon Heads. Then until 1987, they wore the South Melbourne
They
design.
just wore a boring bloody South Melbourne jumper for ages.
Pretty much see everywhere. After that was red with a white monogram, which they wore until 1999, and then the swan design, which they wore until they played their final game at Memorial Reserve. When the club moved to the big new
Yeah, now they wear that old monogram design again, which is pretty sick. It's a really good design. I like to see that type of thing.
facility at Shell Road, they moved back to the 90s design, which is probably one of the best monograms I've seen. It's a much bigger ground. There's also really good netball courts up here as well. Seems a lot more windy than the older ground, but there's soccer grounds here too. The club room's 2 stories and pretty impressive. I think the Grubbers made the right decision moving here. Former
Yeah,
footy grounds.
so that's it there on Nozza. Yeah, no, I got what you mean. Sorry, Jake. Yeah, the current games that I go to, obviously, not the former ones because there's no one to speak to there. But yeah, that's a good idea. And I have got microphones to do that. So yeah, it'll be cool.
Another club that used to share games between
What
How
should
to-
we do?
Mel, former
We can do Waverley
Nope.
Park. So this is a former AFL ground, obviously. and I made this end of last year, like the other one, and now it's maybe a little bit more relevant because they're no longer going to use this, and the AFL bought it for I don't know how many, however many millions they bought it for. Coomera and Victoria is an old ground. All right, awesome. Check that out then. Um, what was your first former ground you did? I haven't. I mentioned that yet, Jake. If it comes up, I'll tell you. It's in Warrnambool.
Melbourne's forgotten AFL ground is Waverley Park, which was used until Marvel Stadium opened. You wouldn't believe this ground hosted games until 1999. A majority of the stadium has been knocked down and replaced with houses, but Hawthorn have trained here since 2007. Waverley opened.
So I went here with the Marmalade guys, and they took me to a few like former VFL grounds, and I was pretty excited to go here because this one's probably like the most well known, I guess, of the former grounds because it literally had an AFL grand final there. So but it's all like really well built up, and it's just like not really that exciting. Like the old stand there is pretty cool, but apart from that, like you wouldn't even know it was like an old AFL ground. Apart from like the streets. I don't know if I say it in the video. The streets are like all like obviously they put the ground there, but then they would have built the streets afterwards. So like it was the ground was there first. Other like most places would be the other way around, but it wasn't Bessie Bell, but it was
In
on that day.
1970, the VFL wanted their own football ground. Back then, it was on the edge of Melbourne, and they had huge plans to make it hold 160,000 people. That didn't happen, but the 1991 grand final was here when the MCG couldn't be used, and it had 75,000 people. Some of the bench seats still remain, but it's mostly where Hawthorn record their TikToks. The Sir Kenneth Luke stand still remains, and this is where Hawthorn have all their facility. There's Hawthorn players in the windows of the second level. I think that's where they have their gym.
G'day,
Most of them are
F1.
faded, except the AFLW ones because they're obviously newer.
Yeah,
But
that'd be cool to
2025
go
will
to
be the
Swan
last
Footy.
season for the Hawks at Waverley. They're
Pretty
moving to a new
sure
facility
Super
at
Footy's
Dingley,
been
and
there.
even this statue of John Kennedy will be moved. I wonder what will happen to the Oval. The stand is heritage listed though. Waverley Park was infamous for its car park.
Yeah,
It's more
you'll
like
see how it was all that car park now is not obviously not a car park anymore. It's just like houses and businesses and stuff. But this was like a very American sort of stadium. Um, yeah, we could react to
an
comments.
American
You might probably
stadium.
be
There
in
would
there.
regularly be traffic jams because there was no public transport built for the ground. This game had 90,000 people and caused the biggest traffic jam. It just doesn't make sense for that many people to drive. But that car park is now a residential area
There you
and
go.
all the streets have stadium-related names. The remaining stand at Waverley has a great mural with the old VFL logo. It's obviously the home of Hawthorn. But there's also random shops in it like a dentist, a barber and a supermarket. If you're a Hawthorn fan, go check out Waverley.
I thought it was
Before they
weird how there's like random shops in there. Like, I didn't expect that, especially like a dentist. G'day, O'Malley. How's it going? Yes, we can react to that Super Footy. Let's see if we can
to that
find one of the early ones. Um, there's a couple decent ones here. This is one of the early ones. I filmed this on.
former footy grounds.
So if you haven't like watched the old ground videos, you might not have seen this one because it was on the first day I filmed it. So I went to Warrnambool and came back, and luckily because it was like September or no, it was October. The day was long. Go to the barber there, yeah. That's one place to do it, I suppose. Would be a good setting. G'day, Dimity. Thanks for joining. So yeah.
Former footy grounds, here's Marino, home of Marino Digby until 1990. The ground's pretty overgrown nowadays, no sign of goals, but I think there's a cricket pitch out in the middle. I didn't want to check because I didn't want to get bitten by a snake.
So this 2023 we had a good season, and there was a lot of green grass around, especially like even until like December it was sort of like half green, and now we've had like lack of rain, and I've been there. I went there 2 weeks ago actually to Merino, and we're nowhere near as much grass. There is a cricket pitch, and after I filmed this video, they started slashing it. So I don't know if I did that or if they just started pulling their finger out, or it was just like the grass was just growing heaps at that time. Do I go for Kaibu or Naracoorte? Kaibi, but I'm not really like crazy Kaibi fan or anything. Like I sort of
They
prefer
wore blue
Kaibi.
with a gold sash and won a premiership in 1967, but didn't win any in the Southwest District. Marino is near Hamilton and Casterton, and Digby's just down the road, hence why they...
I forgot that I put a map in this video. Something that some people said, like put a map in the videos, but it's hard to find a good way to display it in like a vertical video. Um, should check out Southwest Football League grounds. I could like go to the current ones. That's something I could do for sure. I'm afraid of snakes. Yeah, I don't want to get bitten. That's probably the only animal I'm really scared of is snakes. Um,
emerged in the 50s. It's a pretty spectacular place for a ground, and the field is actually huge.
It's a
Couldn't
really
see much in
nice
these
ground,
change
like
rooms.
really
The
nice
facility is
area.
still used by the Pony Club, but they're out the back of this ground.
Definitely.
You can also camp there. Don't know the last
That's
time
alright.
cricket was played there either. It would have been a while. There was also this booth.
I don't know if anyone said in the video. I had so many comments in this video because like everyone was suggesting grounds to go to. But now no one does that because like, they only how many times can they comment? But yeah, there's a lot of comments. I actually went to a lot of these grounds after people suggested them, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this hosted grand finals, this place,
I
surprisingly.
don't think the drink prices are from 1990, and there was just some junk inside, but this would have been a great place to visit in its prime. As always, leave more suggestions in the comments.
Yeah, that was decent, but is there any of the other early ones? Or we'll just show some of the better ones. This one is really cool, and I thought it would get more views. And I filmed this.
A cricket pitch next.
When was it? Oh, it's not Sheep Hills, East Murray.
A cricket pitch
What?
next to a former footy ground. A former footy grounds. Here's
Okay.
the East Murray.
Yeah, so I uploaded this in the start of 2024, but basically this place is an abandoned school, and I'm not the only person to film a video there. I think Drew's Adventures filmed a bit. Oh, he didn't even say where it was, but anyway, I just said where it was. But it's privately owned now. Go to Narracourt. I go to Narracourt every day, pretty much. But in terms of football, maybe I've had a lot of comments from like Narracourt bloody junior players saying to go watch.
Murray Ground, which was home of the Tigers until 2013. This ground is right next to the old East
Last
Murray
year's in
area school, which
2013.
closed down 5 years ago. There's no town around it, it's just paddocks. The grass is a bit patchy on the oval, but it has been getting looked after. East
Very
Murray
lucky
played
to
in
go
the
to
Riverland
Fiji.
Independent League, but prior to that they played in the Murraylands. In the Murraylands they wore black with a gold V, but some players...
So they played in the Murraylands League, which was like Karoonda, around that area, sort of like the western part of the SA Mallee. And then that league finished up in '93, and then they went. East Murray went north. So I think East Murray, like the school itself, was a merger of like 7 schools or 6 schools or something. And Sam Durden went there, so that's how I sort of knew about it. Sam Durden, who he followed a lot of my videos, but he's also mates with Checkers, so that was handy. But yeah, he's from there originally, so he told me about it.
Players did wear Glenelg jumpers, but in the Riverland Independence they were all wearing the black with gold sash. For their final 10 years they wore the Richmond 2000 pre-season design,
I've got
which
one
would
of
be
those
cool to
jumpers
get.
now.
It was such a bizarre ground to go to considering the school next door. There was even an empty pool. The basketball court had a big roof on it. I think that's where the netball played. There were cricket nets on the far side and a cricket pitch in the middle, but I don't know the last time they played here. Remarkably, 2 current AFL players played juniors for East Murray. Carlton defender Sam Durden won a Colts premiership
There
with
he is.
East Murray, but also played for
Mentioned
Loxton
him.
in the major Riverland League. Sydney's Aaron Francis also played for East Murray
He's
before
still
playing
playing,
for Loxton
so-
North. The South Australian Senior Games record holder Kel Frankel also played for East Murray. He played 643 games between 1953 and 1993. East Murray
19. He played from 1953 to 93. That's a bloody fair effort. I guess he finished up when the Murraylands League finished. East Murray School was cool. I went there when it was abandoned and the power was still on. We went there at night and turned on all the lights of the undercover basketball and netball courts. Yeah, that's a pretty sick thing to go there. I didn't really go around to school too much. I was worried about, not doing the right thing. But um, yeah, that's so cool. There is actually a house there as well. So I don't know if whoever bought it is living there, but the whole facility got sold. So school, footy oval, everything. So it's literally in the middle of nowhere as well. Like because it was a merger of like seven schools, they built it in between all those little towns. So there's just paddocks around it. It is. I've never seen anything else like it.
Only started in 1971 though. Inside the club rooms there's a bit of memorabilia. It would be cool to see close up. There was
I hope someone's looking after that memorabilia. I assume they would have took it out now.
even a Christmas tree up, so the community must still use the club rooms. Definitely one of the most interesting grounds I've visited in South Australia. Former footy grounds.
Yeah, so
Here's
that
the
was a
East
really
Murray.
good one in South Australia. But sometimes the best grounds don't make the best videos, so or just whatever. So I also like sometimes the videos that do well are just from like places with high population. Um, let's see if we can find another early one that I've done. Or if anyone in the comments wants to see one. What the hell? Why are other people's videos here? We camped there at night. We scared the shit out of the security guard in the morning. She wasn't impressed with how we got the car through the gates. That's hopefully the security guard didn't get in too much trouble. They were obviously weren't expecting to see anyone there. That's funny. Obviously you got through it all right. All right, so this is one of the best ones. Um, excuse me. And didn't get the best views, so um, yeah, no, that's a good idea, Jake, actually. I've been thinking of that and probably will do it on the YouTube videos, like just driving through the town a bit and just showing a little bit more of what's around the area. Sometimes it's hard to capture what the surroundings is like, but that's one way to do it. G'day, Stat Chat. Thanks for joining. Just rolling through a few of my videos here and just yapping on a bit. Um, see a 5 6 clip driving through Penola or shows how small. Yeah, yeah. No, Jake, that's really good. It's good to have ideas like that. Right. Why did that happen?
Former footy grounds. Here's
It just went straight to the top. Oh my God. Can you play? It's playing up a bit. Oh, the video. Okay, we're not going well here.
Kanong is one of the
Kanong Watong showed up. Maybe we just press another one.
former footy grounds.
Oh,
Illabrook has
what? It plays the one I wanted to play when I click on something completely different. So that's going well. So this video is one of the best ones, and it's got 2 comments. But I'm not saying it like it should do well. But it doesn't always correspond. Like it's just annoying. But yeah, it's fun to do a few streams. I've done like a lot of streams on TikTok and stuff, but I just haven't ventured anywhere else. So I thought just try it out, get a bit of watch time up, and all the rest of it. Former footy grounds. Well, we can do that, Jake. That sounds good. So this is like it was part of the Western Plains League. So it's Victoria, southwest of Ballarat, and this hosted a grand final for its very last game ever, and then they just stopped using it.
been used since the 1998 Western Plains Grand Final. And since then, time has stood still at the ground. The signs are fading away. Inside the change rooms is painted in blue and white. Illabrook were the Bulldogs, as there's a Bulldog Hill nearby where gold was discovered. The shower looks fairly old school. There's this amazing
So
photo of the
crazy.
Cressy women's football.
I don't know why the Cressy women's were playing there, but it wasn't like they would have just done like a one-off game. But it was pretty mad to photo match that. Like you don't often find a lot of good photos of the outside the ground. Often you just get like team photos and stuff. Because like back in the day, like people used to have to like print out their photos and stuff like that, so they didn't take heaps of photos. Can we watch a footy in Narracor? Maybe. What grade?
Football team. It's really incredible to compare from then to now. The scoreboard and timekeepers box is holding up pretty well, really, but the oval resembles more of a paddock than anything else
It was
nowadays.
cool to go
There's
up
no
the
fence
top.
or railing around the outside anymore, and it
So
would get pretty wet
overgrown.
considering it's near Ballarat.
That's
Here's
the
the old
oval there.
Illabrook canteen. There's
You
still
can't tell
some
it's an
club
oval.
colours. You've got the sink there. Crazy this was used for the last Western Plains Grand Final. To the side of it, there's this storage area or maybe even a cool room. Despite being the Bulldogs, Illabrook wore the Geelong design. 1991 was their final seniors premiership. When the Lexington Plains Football League was formed, the club moved to
Still
Smythedale,
goalposts there.
closer to Ballarat.
Some of them fell
and
over.
after that league folded, they moved to the Central Highlands League. The netball change rooms are small, but they're holding up all right. In 2014, after 15 years at Smythedale, they renamed
been like heaps of
themselves
birds and
Smythedale.
stuff in
But the
there.
club played its last season in the Central Highlands in 2018. The old netball court at Illabrook has one goal, but down the other end are a bunch of trees. As far as former netball courts go, I reckon this one is the best. The fence around
It's so mad, this ground. They should, like, if they wanted to film like a movie or something, I don't know, it's just the best. I haven't been in Nile West, no. Haven't been up there. Have you been there, O'Malley?
and the court has mostly fallen down now, but there is one bench remaining next to the change rooms. Illabrook is fascinating. There's not really a town here. It's more of a farming area, and
There's like few little like I think there is a town sort of nearby. There's like a pub, but this is just like up on a hill randomly. Like it's really weird. And I'm not sure who owns it.
a small town nearby called Cape Clear. The council wouldn't upgrade this facility, hence the move to Smythedale. The ground is on a sensational spot on top of a hill. It's a shame it was never used after that grand final.
Yeah, so the club actually continued in a town closer to in a real town closer to Ballarat, but then they folded. I think it was like 2018 or something. So host a Div 12 State of Origin at a random footy ground. Imagine how many people would head to a random country town. Would be awesome. It would be so cool. I would love that, but I'm not sure if all the other guys living in the city would want to do that. But yeah, it would be cool. Maybe as like a little bonus game or something. Could do that. It's very. Oh, really? Okay, so Nia West might be a really good ground to check out. Yeah, Jake. Well, with the YouTube videos, we could like plug the sponsors a little bit more easier than what I do on Reels and everything else. Because you just got more time to do that type of thing. Let's see if there's another good one. This is a really good one. Will it play? No, it's some
Hi
random
everyone.
bloke. Why would that happen?
Former footy. Why was this footy ground abandoned after a grand?
Oh, because I think because that first video did badly, I just like made another video on it just like to see if it would work well. And this video did better, but it was just like the craziest ground, so I thought it deserved another video. I thought this would be a little bit more seamless, but on live it doesn't always work properly. Why are there like random people's videos in here? It should just... Oh, there we go. That's better. Now these are just my videos. So these are all on TikTok. If you want to check them all out, just hashtag former footy grounds. Did someone really use that hashtag? No, I don't know why that's showing up, but that is crazy there. That would be like so fun to go to. I see that that's something I would do in like Europe is go to soccer grounds, because there would be a few. I do watch some of the soccer ground ones. Over in England and that. Oh, all right, that's all good, Jake. Sorry, I just I didn't even look at it. So this one is gonna work.
After
Yeah, okay.
50 years.
So this video here did the best of the former footy grounds on Instagram. I think it has like 500k views. So it's I don't really know why it did well, but I can guess. So we'll go through it. But Under 14 and B rated good, but yeah, that's right. Um, a lot of your friends play junior colts. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I might try and head to a Naracoorte game because it would be good to see a few people there. Abandoned Oval would be a fantastic idea to host a Div 12 Rezzies. Have a mad night in the Cairns camping overnight, organising a DJ. Just to get the yeah. Well, yeah. There's not many nightclubs out in the bush, but you have to make your own fun. So it would be cool. So yeah, we'll get into this one. This is like mid north
Years, the
in
Wakurna
SA.
footy ground still remains. And I was surprised to see the old change rooms in great shape, and there's actually goals at both ends of the ground. Although the oval isn't very flat, I'm not
The
sure if it ever
captions
was.
make it
Wakurna
get
originally
more
played in the
views,
Western
so
Areas Football
I'm gonna put
Association, where
captions
the
on most of
Mid-North
them
meets
now.
the York Peninsula. When that league finished in
G'day, Mr.
1961, they
Jaximus.
joined the Broughton Football League, but only for a few years. In 1965, they would merge with Mundura, which has double the population of Wakurna, but it's only 130 people. And the Mundura-Wakurna Bulldogs would become a strong team in the 70s, winning 4.
I didn't get many good photos or anything of this club, which sort of made me think the video wouldn't do well. But yeah, I don't know. It's also like a little bit too informative, but too much info, not enough aesthetics. But um, some of these comments are decent.
4 premierships in a row. I found some of the numbers from the scoreboard. These could have
Finding
been
the
for
old
netball
things is
or
always the
football, not
best.
too sure. I believe the last game here was sometime in the 1970s. The change rooms are literally a shed with a divider on the top. I
Like,
assume
the
they
divider
lifted it
lifts
up after
up.
the game so the players could talk to each other.
Obviously.
The Wakurna shower setup is pretty rare. You wouldn't see many of these around nowadays. Amazingly, on the scoreboard, it looks like it says Mundura
Just
Wakurna
see
on
the
the top, and
scoreboard
then
lettering.
visitors on the
Just.
other side. You can barely see it. From around the
I went
mid-70s
here
onwards,
with
the Bulldogs would just play games at Mundura. Now, when the Broughton League
what's the
finished in
guy called?
1980, they joined the Adelaide Plains, but
Footy. What's he called? Footy Trip. Oh, I've gone blank now. But I went here with him.
only for
He's a
3
local.
seasons. Because they merged again, this time with Port Broughton, so they become Broughton Mundura, and Wakurna was dropped from the name. Now, Mundura itself would become a former footy ground as well.
So they merged with that
Broughton
club, but
Mundura
then
won
that
the
club
premiership
merged with
last
someone
year in the
else, and
Northern
now that
Areas Football
ground isn't used
Association.
either.
So
But
Wakurna's
this ground
football
is
legacy continues
the
today
ground
just
of
at
today.
Port Broughton. After 50
What former footy ground could be open today if it just had a mo? Yeah, a Mitchell. I was trying to remember his name on Facebook. Um, yeah, but Mitchell is his name. But what former ground? Tarpina probably. You just need to put a goal post up at one end. I think a point post maybe is falling down, but um, that would be one. Even that one at Marino would be pretty good if it just had a mo. Or like there's some like cricket grounds like that would be usable, but yeah, in terms of ones that aren't getting used, there's probably quite a few. Depends how picky you want to be in terms of like if there needs to be a netball court as well. That's another thing, but yeah. There's definitely a few places with potential. Camped at Wakurna also found a few cool coins with my metal detector near the cream puff corner. Right, okay. The metal detector, that's interesting, okay. You're a distant cousin of Josh Wrench. Really? Well, he's a bloody good player. If you didn't check out that video from the weekend, he's a good player for Penshurst. Got a jersey of the old Glenn Thompson team. Really, before they merged? Or I've got a Glenn Thompson Dunkeld jumper, which is what they are now. Can you do a live stream of you walking around former foot? Yeah, that is something I will be probably doing with another creator who's better at live streams than me. That's the only hint I'm going to give. He's a lot better at live streams than me, so that's something we'll try and tee up, which will be real fun, I reckon. What we got? It's not showing up. I don't know why like other people's videos would show up. It's not what we're after. Anyway, are there any like grounds people want me to sort of like chat about, or you can let me know. Oh, no worries, Jax, Mr. Jaximus. Um, this one is pretty decent.
Former footy grounds, the Cressy.
So Cressy is near Illabrook, and I went there the same day I went to Illabrook, obviously, because it was near there. And luckily, everything was open. This was the morning that Donald Trump got shot. That's the day I went here, so that's a odd reference, but um, it's nearly a year ago next week, I think, and everything was open.
Demons played in the Western Plains Football League until 1998. The change rooms look like they've frozen in time. You get a sense of
I was
history
so
here
lucky
at
to
Cressy. It's a
go
small
there on
town,
that
50
day.
minutes from Ballarat and 50 minutes from Geelong. The locals look after the ground. It's a meeting spot for the community. They regularly meet in the club rooms. And the ground is still used today, not for football or cricket, but for sheepdog trials. The railing around the oval was removed in recent years and replaced by sheep fences. This is
So there's a really good video on the league and the ground. Just look up Western Plains. It should come up. But yeah, it's a really good video. But this one, the change rooms haven't been touched since the 80s, pretty much. Well, they finished in the 90s, but they look older than that. But inside the club room, it's pretty good.
certainly unique.
Pretty
It's a
new.
great way to still use the facilities in the small town. The old timekeeper's box is still there with the bell, which would have been used as a siren back in the day. And I was lucky that the club rooms were open on this day to see all the history
it looks
inside.
nice in
Cressy
the
wore
club
a
rooms.
Demons jumper in the Western Plains for many years. At the end of 98, the league merged with the Lexington Football League and Cressy folded. In the late 90s, Cressy was struggling to find players, particularly in the juniors. The earliest photo I saw was from 1919.
So the bloke there, he told us like they used to actually like get junior footballers in from Geelong, which is a pretty weird concept but that's how lacking they were of juniors. And yeah, when the Western Plains League finished, so did Cressy. They didn't continue on or seek a merger. We can look at the Red Bank one. That's a good idea. Maybe we'll do a stream with Cardi. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can look at those ones. I saw the Colgar one before. Oh, really? So the Murrayville ones were pretty similar. They've had nice
played in the
upgrades there
Lismore
now.
District Football Association. But from 1930 onwards, they played in the Western Plains. Cressy was strong in the 50s, winning 4 premierships. The most notable Cressy player would be Reg Hickey, who was captain, coach, and centre half back in Geelong's team of the century. There's also a stand named after
One
him
of the
at
biggest
Cardinia
Geelong
Park, which is pretty
legends.
insane. There's an old Ross Faulkner
Played
on
for this
display,
club.
not the Sharon, and imagine wearing these for footy boots today. I seen this photo from the seconds in 86. There's a few blokes wearing straight up Melbourne jumpers. And in this under-17 premiership team from 91, some have the Melbourne VFL.
That was a good effort to win the under-17s that year. But yeah, people just used to wear like literal VFL or AFL jumpers. It's pretty weird. You don't see it now, but even in the 90s.
Logo, and some have the VCFL one. There were also cricket photos on display, just way too much stuff for one video. I appreciated them letting me have a look around. Even in the storage up the back, there was some
history
old
in the
player
club rooms
lockers.
was very good.
But back to the ground, in the
It was like a
timekeeper's
like a
box, there
current
was an
ground,
old
pretty
medicine
much.
bowl for some reason, but also some pieces of paper from the sheepdog trials. And on the cricket pitch, it looks like they've just recently painted the lines, even though they haven't played cricket here for a while. That's also the case for the goalposts. They put a fresh coat of paint on them. Pretty cool that they're still looking after it even today. And the old scoreboard looks funny with the livestock fence in front of it. Interesting ground. There were people camping there for the
that was
dog
really
trials.
good. You can camp there. So where's the Berry Willick and Culgoa? Nan Daly is close to there. I went there on the same day. Because it's nearby. And what was the other suggestion? What was it? Red Bank. We'll look out for those ones. We'll just have to search it maybe, unless I missed it. I thought it would just be my videos here, because I'm the only person to use this hashtag, really, on TikTok. Kalgoa had like a, was it Kalgoa? No, Berry Willick.
Former footy grounds. Here's
So Berry Willick and Kalgoa, they merged, and they had games that, so they merged until I think it was 2002 maybe with Sea Lake and Daly. So four clubs merged, but they just played at Sea Lake mostly, sparingly at Kalgoa and Berry Willick. But then they played in the Mallee Football League. But when the Mallee Football League finished, this is a Victorian one, they stopped using Kalgoa and Berry Willick. So they just play at Sea Lake nowadays, and they play Sea Lake play in the North Central League.
Kalgoa, which hosted its last game in 2015 due to the closure of the Mallee Football League. Kalgoa hosted one or two Sea Lake and Daly games a season until they joined the North Central League, and now all the games are in Sea Lake. The facility is still maintained. You can see they're watering outside the club rooms anyway. Kalgoa played in the Tyrrell Football League, but in 1975 they merged with nearby Berry Willick to form Berry Kalgoa. Berry Kalgoa would play in the Mallee Football League until 2002 when they merged with Sea Lake and Daly. Kalgoa.
Yeah, so this jumper, is it the same as this one? On the footy jumper book? Or is that, it might be Goya. It might be, where is the, anyway, doesn't matter. This is a pretty cool book actually, the footy jumper book. I should have mentioned what it was. Front paper. I should have looked this up. Yeah, so this is Kalgoa jumper, early 1960s, worn by the captain coach. So that's on there, the footy jumper book. So this has like old acrylic jumpers and the old woolen ones and whatever else. It's only those style of jumpers, but that's I think you might be able to buy it online. Anyway.
Originally wore blue with a red Carlton monogram. It's an interesting one. However, Berry Kalgoa were the Tigers. When they merged with Sea Lake and Daly, they didn't change the name, but Sea Lake swapped from the Swans to the Tigers. It was also convenient because the Tigers' design is easier to get than the old Swans. The scoreboard was the best part, and inside was...
This was really weird in the scoreboard, and I think someone in the comments might have spoke about it. But you'll have a look.
Something I've never come across before at any other grounds. I climbed up the stairs to see someone had made a cubby house out of the scoreboard, or perhaps just a hangout spot. These packets here were completely full. Fake grass and vines as decoration. Also these lights that teenagers hang up in their rooms. I tried them, but it wasn't working.
LED
that
lights
was definitely unique.
in the
Now down to the pitch report and the pitch.
I think someone had a birthday party there or some anyway. Should we get a funding thing for your fuel? Talk to old boys for guide tours. Remember that. Yeah. Or maybe they said it on my Facebook, or I swear someone said in the comments, it might have been on my Instagram, that they said that they had a party there and that's why all that stuff was in the scoreboard. I always drive past Kalgoa on my way between Bendigo and Mildura. Always get a good view from the highway. Yeah, the ground is on the highway, so you would get a good look at it. It's pretty cool. You should pull in there sometime. Have a look.
Seems to be missing, although there's a line there. There was also $2 from the last coin toss, but it didn't cover my fuel costs. The cricket net actually backs onto the footy field, which you don't see at too many grounds. Definitely enjoyed visiting Kalgoa Recreation Reserve. Former footy...
Yeah, so that was cool. And then if we can go Berry Willick. Did I type Berry Willick? Yeah.
Former footy grounds, Berry...
So, hold on. Look at this. That's what it looks like now. They must have brought in like stands and stuff. So they used it for like a rodeo recently, or start of the year. G'day New Age Sporting, how's it going? Thanks for joining.
Former
So this
footy
is what
grounds,
the ground
Berry
looked like when I went there. Way different from the bloody horses.
Willick was another former ground in the Mallee. Thankfully, didn't have to work out too hard when the last game was.
I've never
Berry
seen
Willick is one
anywhere
of the
else do
four
that.
clubs that make up the Sea Lake Nan Daly Tigers. They last played here in 2015 when the Mallee League closed, and then they joined the North Central.
Kalgoa was, I'm sorry, Berry Willick was a lot rougher than Kalgoa, but I think it was just like at Kalgoa they still used it for like Lions Club or something.
Usually merged clubs can't continue to share grounds forever. They will just pick out the best ground in the biggest town,
Although
which is
it's
Sea Lake.
not too
Some
bad
bottles and
inside
cans in a
the
timekeeper's
rooms
box,
there.
but they're more recent than 2015. What I couldn't work out is why the hell there were frogs on the windows, but Berry Willick were originally the bullfrogs wearing green with a yellow monogram. I reckon that's sick. In 1975,
pretty
they merged
nice
with
jumper.
Kalgoa to form Berry Kalgoa Tigers. Their final season in the Mallee League was 2002 when they merged with Sea Lake Nan Daly. The Tigers won the last Mallee Premiership in 2015. This year they had an undefeated season with Josh Jenkins kicking 50 goals in 8 games. There's some old team signs on the other side of the scoreboard, but they've been
look
tech
at 'em.
screwed
They've
down.
been
In the same
bloody
facility
put 'em
on the
down.
other side of the ground is actually the golf club. I believe the golf club still utilise the ground, which is good to know. You see this at some grounds, but there was
That golf club might have been abandoned. I'm not sure if it was still used. Yeah, your first win at Branksholm, we beat Heathmere in the under 14s. Awesome, Jax. Well done. Hopefully you get another win for the rest of the year. I was at Heathmere obviously a couple of weeks ago, but I think they had someone kick a heap of goals on them in the seniors. Geordie Withers might have kicked a few, someone told me, this week.
so many bins around the fence of this ground, there was no excuse to litter. And the netball
Well,
court
that might have been Weston's, actually. Might have been Weston's.
has the most unique light setup I've ever seen. It's almost like it's its own
Really
power
weird
pole.
lights
Surely
there.
the ball would have hit those lights a couple times over the years. Berry Willick is just another great old ground in the Victorian Mallee. Former footy
Yeah, so that was an interesting one. Barry Willick. Kind of interesting they last used it 10 years ago now. What was the other suggestion? It was Red Bank. Might not come up. Because I think Red Bank is in like Brisbane. Did I make a video there? I can't remember. I think I did at Moonambell and they merged with Red Bank. I think I made one there. Anyway.
former footy grounds. Here's what
So some other things I'll show is we got some other people that make footy ground videos. We got Around the Grounds with Thurl on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, and O'Malley in the chat. He makes the videos now, but it used to be Thurl, but he's no longer with us.
G'day,
I never got to meet him, but yeah, he used to make the videos going around.
viewers
the
out there.
grounds.
Look,
It's any like old ones. So this is mostly South Australian Mallee. You get a bit of Victorian Mallee and a bit of other places as well that O'Malley's been to. And that's like the racetrack or something. But yeah, there's all sorts on here. Up the Panthers. Oh, top page. Yes, outdoors type. It is pretty handy, isn't it? Pretty good. We can look at the Ballarat ones for sure. Check that out. So that's one. And then there's also, I'm not sure if he's in the chat anymore, but Shiner Family. He's a young bloke having a crack at making videos, and he's made a lot of footy ground videos that I haven't been to, so you might want to check him out. He has been to some that I've been to, so I've been to Yannick. Woomalang is pretty cool, and Watcham. There's no audio for this one, but the Watcham Panthers, they just won a cricket flag, so 24-25. That wasn't the case when I went there. So this Watcham merged with Birchip. This is in the Victorian, like North Central League. They were the Redlegs, but the ground wasn't used for anything, and then they started up because like they merged and then they stopped playing at Watcham, but then they restarted a cricket club, and they ended up winning a premiership in the reserves grade or B grade of the cricket last year. But they still have the scoreboard there. They merged with Korak. That's another one. I've done a video there as well. I don't know if Shiner family went to Korak or Korak. Can't recall, but it's got like I think it might have had like a trotting track around it. If you look at the fence around it, like that fence as well. Oh well, there.
Former footy grounds. Here's
So there's that was Shiner families, and this is mine.
Watcham, where the Redlegs played in Victoria's North Central League until 1996. They were Watcham Korak because they merged with them when the league returned after World War II. That name is still on the scoreboard, but the scoreboard was locked because it's actually a current cricket ground. They're known as the Watcham Panthers in the Wimmera Mallee League. Still got the old tiny goalpost.
So this video is only a minute, and it's a little bit too fast paced. I speak a bit too quick, but that's just me.
I don't actually know when the last game was played here. The Redlegs wore red with a blue V. The inverse is more common, so I rate that. In 97, they merged with Birchip to become the Birchip Watcham Bulls and wore Freo jumpers initially.
It's weird how they wore those Freo jumpers, but they call themselves the Bulls.
Now the Bulls wear green with a purple and white V. It's very unique. I think it probably works better with white shorts. Not sure if the Bulls ever played at Watcham, probably not going off the scoreboard. On the netball court over here, we have some silo art. It's not a bad thing. Every town seems to have it now, though. The jockey artwork is quite well done.
Every bloody town has like a... I mean, it's nice and everything, but every town has artwork on silos nowadays. Some people are into it, but I'm sort of just...
And you don't often see a silo on a netball court. I thought this old handball target in this storage shed was pretty cool. And there were also some old numbers from the scoreboard. An interesting ground. I was pleased to see it was still used by the Watcham community.
Yeah, so someone says here, not a fan of the AFL, but these are some of my favourite videos. So that was pretty nice comment for them to leave. Someone said Korak, and I went there eventually. Alright, so the cricket club folded in 1969, but was re-established in 2013, which is very rare. Like, that's credit to the community there. That's really cool that they did that. No one from Watcham plays cricket. All of them are from Birchip or Donald. Okay, because like Watcham is like a pretty small town, so I guess like people from Birchip and Donald go out there and play. Some of their worst kid either. Check out 2015-16 Birchip, Watcham, White. Oh really? You should send it to me. That's I've never seen that one. I don't reckon. So
former VFA.
We're talking about Ballarat. So this is a video I made November 2023, and I went to all the grounds that had VFA. So this was like way back. So when the VFA was the best league, which was before 1897 when the VFL started. So it's a long, long time ago. But Ballarat was a substantial city in Victoria in those days, more so than Geelong. It was rivaling Melbourne nearly back when they had the gold rush and everything like that. But I think the gold rush was before footy was good. Like footy came around and became better. But anyway.
Grounds. Ballarat used to have 3 VFA sides in the top footy competition until 1888. Here's City Oval near Lake Wendouree, but back then it was called Saxon Paddock. The clubs were Ballarat, South Ballarat and Ballarat Imperial. Only Ballarat still exists today. The other 2 folded around.
So that's meant to be the main oval in Ballarat, but they play the AFL games like out in... It's not out in the sticks, but it's like on the outer suburbs of Ballarat. But this is in like the proper city part of, because it's near the bloody big lake.
And World War II. The Swans played here at City Oval until 1994, but now the Redan seniors just play here. It's a great ground, but it feels so spaced out with the track around it. The old grandstand's very cool. It was built 10 years after the Ballarat clubs left the VFA though. But this isn't my favourite ground in the town. I reckon Eastern Oval is better, or Ballarat Cricket Ground as it.
So this is a really nice ground here. It's a lot. The City Oval is kind of a bit half rough in a way. I'm sure the Redan like setup is nice and everything, but um, yeah, this is a lot nicer.
It was once known. This was the second most used ground. Legendary cricketer W.G. Grace actually played here, and they even named a tree after him. The Ballarat teams would mostly play against the other Ballarat sides, but they would play some games against the Melbourne team. Another great old grandstand.
So they played in the VFA, but like they would play a lot of games just against the other Ballarat teams, and then every now and then they'd play a Melbourne side. Um, this is a long, long time ago now. So it was like there was no cars. They just had to get around through trains and everything.
Reckon it would be way more fun to watch an AFL game here than Mars Stadium, but it's just so compact. Today the East Point Kangaroos play here, and it has a pretty cool clock. The toilet block even has gentlemen written on it. It's a pretty classy ground, but I was genuinely impressed with Eastern Oval. And some VFA games were played at Western Oval, but this is more of your average sort of ground. The Redan Juniors play here, and there must have been a cricket game earlier on that day. There's new change rooms, part of the women's facility.
In Victoria, they have so many new change rooms. Like they got bloody so much money in Victoria. It's crazy.
Upgrades, which a lot of clubs have been doing. I thought the strangest thing here was that it looks like the scoreboard backs onto a normal house, but it's actually a bridge club where they play.
There's just like a club that backs onto this oval, like a house, but they use it to play bridge in, which is like a card game for like old people. I don't like AFL either, but these are also some of my favorite videos. It must be a thing. No worries. Thanks for joining our Outdoors Type. Very nice of you to stop by.
Play cards. I wonder if a Ballarat team stayed in the VFA, they would currently be in the AFL like the other clubs today. And Mars Stadium technically counts, even though it was VFL when they started in 1996.
Yeah. So anyway, there's some of the old Ballarat grounds, but they're still currently used. But if they had better railway from Melbourne to Ballarat when the VFL started, there would likely be an AFL team in Ballarat today. But that's just how it eventuated. There wasn't. I think to go to Ballarat, you had to go through Geelong. I'm not a railway expert, but I think, yeah, back in the old days, it wasn't very easy to get to Ballarat. Like, just didn't have trains straight there. So anyway, but what are some other good ones? This one's pretty cool.
Former footy grounds. Here's
So this one is very close. I mentioned Landsborough in the video I did at Navarre. So they had a very similar history to Navarre, but they finished up in 2001.
Landsborough, where the Boroughs played until 2001. In their final Lexington Plains season, they were so low on numbers, they had over 50 goals kicked against them on 6 occasions. Here's the change room, just used for storage now. You can see a few.
It's really like, so most, if you don't know already, well, I'm sure you do, like most clubs fold because they have no players. And obviously they were so light on for players that they were getting absolutely thrashed in their final seasons, Landsborough. And they had like a multiple record scores kicked against them. They still play bowls there, do they? Okay. Well, that's it's probably a sign of the aging population as well. And there's Navarre, which Navarre really shouldn't have a football netball club either, but probably the people from Landsborough play over there. I heard some people when I went there to Navarre, they said, "Oh, my family used to play for Landsborough." Talking about old cricket clubs starting up again, just off the subject, but there's a pub in the Flinders Ranges at Beltana. Served last drinks in 1958. The Royal Victoria Hotel was open again. Right, they just started one up. Is that what you're saying? That's pretty cool.
A few birds living there too. Walking up the ramp to the timekeeper's box was pretty sketchy.
That was
You
so
had to walk on the
sketchy.
sides where the metal was. Landsborough were once a strong club. In the 80s, they won a three-peat in the Lexington Football League. But there's only 200 people in the area, and all the major towns are over half an hour away. The boroughs were gold and brown and wore the Hawthorn design. You can see the colours on the scoreboard as well, but unfortunately it was locked up. One of the goalposts was missing and the point post was so bent it must have been hit by a tractor. Here's some of the
I wish I got a good shot of the goalpost there, because it was like literally nearly fallen over, but it was still on the ground. I did know that Hamilton Kangaroos used to be Magpies and Imperials, Jacks. I'm still trying to find a Hamilton Magpies jumper, and I don't really follow SANFL, really.
From 1993 hosted
Just
at
some of the
Landsborough.
final series.
It's the Boroughs in gold versus Navarre in green, and Navarre still exists. They're only 10 minutes up the road, so I assume all the Landsborough players went to Navarre. Still quite a decent facility today. It's a shame they had to fold, but in 2001,
actually the club rooms there are not bad at all.
Score.
They probably built them.
Linton kicked 72 goals, 32, which
I didn't get a good shot of it, but they were like brick.
But in 2001, they assume all the Landsborough players.
If it's brick, it was probably built in the 80s, but still, it's not bad.
Still quite a decent facility today.
They had like slide doors there for a club that's bloody not real strong. Unless the Bowls Club, because the Bowls Club was there as well.
It's a shame they had to fold, but in 2001, Carnham Linton kicked 72 goals, 32, which was maybe the tennis user. Points. But it's better to remember the good times of the boroughs. Former footy grounds here.
But that was not a bad one at all. Bit of classic footage there. They had a market there last weekend with Ben McAvoy volunteering and running a goal kicking comp. Is that for real? Someone said that. Ben McAvoy has a farm like out that way. Well, when I went to Navarre, people were talking about him. So, what other comments? Please tell me you tested the siren. The must have still been plugged in. This lad must have done it before, if he said that. Good to see Landsborough on here. Bloody good town. We used to have a block up there, and the pub and the cafe is unreal. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that was a cool one. Oh, the Balls use the town hall. Right, okay. Interesting little place around that area. What is this?
Made it to our first ground today, New Merca, who play out in the Murray Football Netball League. Now imagine rocking up home ground and these New Merca right there, leg up. Box.
I've never seen that guy before, but he's done a little ground video, which is cool. What other good ones do we have here? Dranclider. No, something else, completely different place. What happens if I click here? No.
The South Parramatta Club.
Alright, we'll do South Parramatta. So this is sort of like near Colac. So Western Districts, I suppose you'd call it.
Rooms remained unused since 1999 when they left the Hastbury Mount Noorat League. They had fairly basic facilities, but these change rooms did the job
really
for training. They actually moved to
well.
Cobden to play games in the late 80s. The showers feel like they're frozen in time. There's still nails hanging off the wall. Reminds me of Bessie Bell, another club that finished up in the late 90s. Because in the change rooms, there's actually a bar as well.
It's weird, this place, the club rooms was also the change rooms. And that the bar was in the home change rooms, which is very weird. But I guess they made use of what they had. They didn't have I thought the setup there would be a bit better than what it was, to be honest. But pretty authentic. G'day, Harvey.
It wasn't in a separate building. It's all in one here, and it's still got the prices.
That's the prices. So beer $2, soft drinks $1, chips $1.20. Spirits $3. I think is it Mars bars? I don't know. $1.20.
$19.99. $2 for a beer and $1 for a soft drink. Not sure why there's a Swan
And there's a
Lager
Swan
sign in
Lager.
Victoria
I don't know
and the
why,
old
though.
stretcher
That's
is
a
hanging from the
Western
ceiling.
Australian
There's
beer.
a separate shed for the away change rooms, and these haven't been used for even longer. Half of this wall is missing, but there
I think
still
they were
is a
gonna
bench
do
where
this
the
up.
away players would have got changed back in the day. South Parramatta also used to play in the Colac District League until 1980. The main shed
Oh,
at
yeah. So that was it. That all the change rooms were fenced off, because of the asbestos. But they let me in there just to film that. But I mean, like if no one was there, like they wouldn't stop me anyway. But I was shown around this ground. So the day I went here is the day they had their very first cricket game in 25 years. They restored it.
South Parramatta has the old timekeeper's box up the top. It's a pretty decent size and you'd get a good view up here. You can just see the old scoreboard at the front of it, the SP for South Parramatta. Below that is the canteen which the club used on game days until 1988 when they moved to Cobden. Amazingly, there is a photo of the canteen back in the 80s. Sadly, the lights, the benches and the other scoreboard no longer remain. The benches were along this
was all
side of the
removed,
ground. In this
all
video
that
from a
stuff.
few years ago, you can see the two benches and one of the light towers. Thanks to Matt for this video. Around the boundary of the ground there was cypress
So
trees.
that's what it used to look like. It used to look real rough, but that would have been fun to go there back then.
That were removed recently. There's the home and the away change room there. As you can see, the ground was a bit overgrown back then, but the reserve committee have done a great job in restoring it. The removal of the trees around the boundary really
It was a
opened up the
pretty
ground,
good
and you get a
surface,
great view of the
actually.
farms
It'd
around
probably
the
even
area.
be better
Mostly
now.
dairy farms around here,
But
but
it
the
was
ground
pretty,
did have horses
lopsided.
trotting around the oval at one stage. Fremantle ruckman Sean Darcy is from a dairy farm around South Parramatta. The ground is now being used by the Pominette Cricket Club, and the new
It was a
pitch looks
completely
great.
new
You
cricket
can just see
pitch.
the remnants of an old cricket pitch up in the corner of the ground near the fence. That pitch would have been used before the fence was actually put there. Sadly, not much is left of the South Parramatta netball courts. The fence has been removed, but the memories live on from the netball players. But the toilet block is quite good after it's been upgraded. Definitely
had
better than a
upgrades
lot
to
of
the
grounds I've been to.
toilets.
It's great to see a former footy ground restored and be used again after so many years out of action. The South Parramatta club
But
rooms
that
remain
was sort of
unused
like
since 19...
one of the ones I wanted to go to for ages. So that was a good one to tick off. Some grounds that you don't go out of, worry of snakes. Oh, I don't know if you saw the one before. It was at Merino, but I still go there. But I just like try and film it quickly, or just like really be aware. Like don't hang around too much and stuff like that. Or ideally, I go with a mate to some of those like sort of dodgy ones. Or sometimes there's like places where you like don't, you feel like you're not really shouldn't be there. So it's good when if you have a mate. So some of these ones, I filmed this one here with King Dreamer from Horsham. That was by myself. That was with Footy Trips. What is it? What does he call himself? Mitchell, anyway. But that was filmed by myself. That was with a Fipper. But yeah, ideally I go with someone else, but not always. Out of Branksholm we have this forward. His nickname is Toolbox. His real name is Brent. Last name he kicked 9 goals. Wow, okay. Toolbox is a pretty good player then. Hopefully he can kick 9 at some point. I think my record is 3 that I've kicked. I went to some of the Riverland grounds with a mate as well. Scared of snakes. Gotta be scared of something.
The Lirip Lions fold.
Frey, you gotta be scared of something. Not everyone's invincible. So yeah, this is in the Riverland, South Australia, and it is pretty nice because they still use it. They literally had a game there probably last week, but they only use it for like real old blokes footy. Have you been to Congarong Oval? What a I've done a video there. It's on my YouTube. I could pull it up.
folded in 2021, but their ground isn't quite a former footy ground. This ground is a hidden gem in the Riverland with all the fruit trees surrounding it. It's still in really good condition.
Place,
at the start of 2021, the club folded with only 9 registered players. After COVID, players didn't return, so the Football Netball Club had to fold. The scoreboard still has the signs of the Riverland Independent Club's Wonka is probably the best name in the league. The Riverland Independent League became the Murray Valley, and it used to be under the control of the Riverland League. Now it's actually independent, even though it was named independent before. The Lyrup Lions wore a Fitzroy-based design, and I'm lucky to have a couple of their jumpers. Love the Win Television League sponsor. The LFC monogram looks quite good on this one. By the time they won the flag in 2015, it also had a lion on the jumper. Then the final Lyrup jumper just had a lion, no LFC monogram.
So this league is bloody weird league. They don't have, or they did have juniors, but they don't have juniors anymore nowadays. Which is like, pretty strange, but it's just, they're like very small clubs in the Riverland Independence, but now it's called Murray Valley. Camping stealth overnight at those grounds is a thrill. You do that very well. I actually
love watching the Win Television highlights of the Independent League back in the day. You can see the line markings on the ground, and that's because it's still used by the Riverland Superdogs. They're a Masters football club. I like how their jumper has a fake lace-up effect. They play in the South Australian Masters League, and some of the away games would take nearly 3 hours to travel to Adelaide. It's great that the ground can be used by them, and is really the perfect setting for them, I reckon. I'm sure the travelling teams would like a trip out to the Riverland. For some reason, the playground has a boat, not sure why. It says these courts were open in 1990, but surely they're older than that. Maybe it's just when they renovated them. Now, Lyrup's a small town on the other side of the Murray.
You have to go over there,
so you actually go on a ferry to get there. It's the first ferry that I've been on to go visit a footy ground. There was actually an old sign saying not to eat the fruit because they've been sprayed. It's the one footy ground where you don't have to pack the cut up oranges for half time.
There's like literally like fruit trees just hanging around the oval, and it said like on here.
There was actually an
I don't really eat much fruit, which is not a good thing, but it said do not eat the tangelos. Like they're like somebody fruit or something. I don't know what it is, but Mid South East is not better than Limestone Coast, but it doesn't need to be. It's
old sign saying not to eat the fruit because they've been sprayed. It's the one footy ground where you don't have to pack the cut up oranges for half time. You could probably just
imagine like if you go to this ground like when you're a kid, like you just go to the tree and like bloody grab a fruit off the tree instead of going to the canteen.
Off the tree. I also found it interesting that this ground backs onto the old Lyrup Primary School. The school closed in 2012 due to falling student numbers. Now it's used for accommodation. On Street View, you can see what it used to look like. Because the Riverland is West Adelaide zone, they've had pre-season camps at Lyrup. Pretty handy spot staying at the old school with the ground just next to it. The Lyrup Lions are no more, but it's good the Superdogs are making a home out of Lyrup. The Lyrup Lions folded in 2021, but they're...
Yeah, so that's a very nice one in the Riverland. Anyway, we've gone live for over an hour. I appreciate if you're watching this or watching it back on the replay. Let me know what live streams you want to see. Obviously, jumper ones would be a good suggestion. I watched the Limestone Coast games. They are uploaded to YouTube. The quality's dropped significantly over the years. I think that's pretty fair to say. Yeah, definitely people who've been following footy for a long time say that the Western Border League was a lot better back in the day, and there's a real lack of imported players in the Limestone Coast League, especially compared to KNTFL. In KNTFL, there'd be at least 1 or 2 SANFL experienced players in every game, but that wouldn't be the case in Limestone Coast. But the clubs, I wouldn't say they spend as much money, because they just rely on local talent, which is, kind of good and bad. But sad seeing the old Win TV station abandoned near Loxton. It was great when there was local content produced. Yeah, it was very cool. I used to love so it's funny you say that, because there used to be a lot of Riverland Independent games shown on Win TV. Sorry. And me and my dad used to laugh like watching some of the independent games, because there was some like pretty washed footballers in this league, not gonna lie. But yeah, it was pretty funny watching them go around on Win TV when there used to be local content on TV, but it's long gone. Yeah, that's true. He used to have Trent Burgoyne. I'm not sure if he's how good he is, but he would be pretty decent. Arch, did I watch under 12s? I didn't watch. I haven't watched any under 12s this year, but maybe I'll have to go early one day. Um, Opinions on the Bendigo Football Netball League with the mass exodus of teams. Do you follow it much? I don't know much about it, but uh, definitely the Bendigo clubs have been dominating. If we just talk about it. So there is Castlemaine in that league, but there used to be Kyneton. They left. They went to the Riddle District South, and now Gisborne here. They're gonna play the Ballarat League, and the Ballarat League is like Ballarat and East. The Ballarat League this is another subject, but the Ballarat League used to be more rural, but now it's a lot more city sort of based. Not city, but half, what's the right word? Half city. I do know Jimmy, yes. Arch and Dalesford anyway, they used to play there, but the Bendigo League is just becoming very Bendigo centric, so a little bit disappointing, but that's just the way it's going. There used to be even Echuca used to play in the Bendigo League back in the day, but they had like there was a big fallout. I can't remember what happened, but it was in like the 70s, and the Echuca people were not happy. If I go to Echuca, I'll make a video on it. I just need to remember what happened. But I think maybe Rochester used to be in that league. But anyway. Yeah. I know, yeah, Arch. I thought you were, yeah. That's cool. Thanks for joining. Is there more abandoned grounds in Hamilton? We can have a look. So there is another ground I haven't filmed. Jack's. Well, I did film this one actually, but it was just a former junior club. So the Kokoda Junior Football Club used to play at Mitchell Park, which is just a ground at the south part of Hamilton. And I did film a video there, but I just never bothered posting it because it was only a juniors one. And the other day, I just did a bit of research, and apparently they used to play at the Hamilton Showgrounds, which is where they have the sheepvention. I'm not sure if they played there or at this place, which is the Hamilton Alexandra College, but this was like way back in the day, so I haven't really done a lot of research on that. Yeah, yeah, Logan, yep, nice. Cool, Arch. Thanks for joining. I want to put more soccer videos up, but I just haven't got around to it. But yeah, this is the I did make a video on this ground. Jax, if you saw that one. But there's not any others. There is Tarrington, but I'm not sure. Like, I went to Tarrington and this ground was only used. It was used after the footy club ended, so I don't really know where the footy club played because the dates didn't line up. But there's actually a turf wicket there and everything. I drove through there on the weekend because Penshurst is just there. That's where I went on the weekend. And I forgot to go to this ground. I've driven past it before, but Minamites, something like that. The Gisborne Old Ground, Shiner family. So I don't think it was the ground that I had saved. It was the reason I had this saved was because I was going to make a video on it, but I never did. I had it saved because the Gisborne Giants were going to play it's their first year of senior footy, so that's why I had that saved. So as far as I know, there's no former grounds there. Oh, really? The showgrounds you see? All right, we'll have to check that one out next time we're in Hamilton. Did you go to Adelaide versus China soccer game at Adelaide Oval last year? No, I didn't go to that one. I've been to other ones though at Adelaide Oval. I've seen Liverpool at Adelaide Oval. They played. It's like 10 years ago now, but seen like Socceroos like versus Tajikistan and Saudi Arabia. seen those games. Karamuka and Raywood. Yeah, that's how you say it. Can I find them without searching them? They'd be around here somewhere. I'm not really that familiar with the area. Raywood. Oh yeah, I don't have Raywood saved because they still use this ground, but just occasionally. But yeah, that was what was it? Northern United. I played there, and then Karamuka. That is not where I wanted. Yes, Rip Jota. I can't even believe that. Just reading that seems weird. What are you doing for next video? Well, I'll do this week's country footy videos, but I still have other former footy grounds I need to post, but I just can't be stuffed. But I should post them. Anyway, Borough SA has numerous ovals. Do I have any? Oh, I've got a few saved. Maybe you've helped me out. So the Borough Oval is here now, or is it there? Must be that one. Which is interesting because I used to have this one here. Aberdeen Football Club played there, and they also played here as well until 1974, which is next to the golf course. But that looks pretty abandoned, that one. Oh, sorry, directly north of Bendigo. We'll look there again. Sorry about that, I lost track. Oh, there it is. I just spelled it wrong. So this one probably would be a good video, and I think Northern United used to play their final games of each season there because it was probably a little bit drier than the other one. What was that? Raywood. So that will probably be a good video when I get there. There is a street view. Excuse me. Is there still goals? Nice. Nice. Looks not too bad. There's a dog. James Grayco did this. I wish all the grounds had like a bit of a panorama. My computer, it was like $2,000 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not that much. Just a laptop. But yeah, that'll be a good one for sure. When I get to Bendigo. Yeah, Raywood's there. Anyway, I think I've gone through most things that I spoke about. We're watching Shiner Family before. Does Shiner Family have one of those grounds on here? Those Bendigo ones? Maybe not. Have to go there. So he did all these. I'm in this one. We went to the Narracoote Showgrounds. So the Narracoote Showgrounds was used until the 80s, and then they played the current oval. Obviously before I was born, so I haven't known any different. But my dad and his brothers, they used to play for Kaiby, but they would have played games here.
Yeah, Andy. Oh, it doesn't work?
Oh, it does.
Oh, only
I was
just.
a bit weak.
Barely.
Yeah. But there's a showground. This is in the middle of town, so I guess they couldn't really expand on it. And on the far side, there was a railway as well. So, but the railway closed in the 90s, so it's irrelevant nowadays. Check out Narracoote United. I couldn't do a video on all the soccer grounds, that's for sure, Arch. Playing the Heathcote District League, and we always go past it on my way to Lockington and Leachfield Gunbower. Right, okay, yeah, so you would have a bit of knowledge driving past it. Karamuka, is it? Oh no, not Karamuka. Kamaruka. It's a very straight road there. They must have built those towns a little bit later on. Because usually towns are always built on water sources. But you don't often see like straight roads. Anyway, could be completely wrong. But yeah, maybe we've had enough for tonight. We've gone live for a little while. Chuck a subscribe if you haven't yet. And let me know sort of like what live streams you're interested in, because I quite like doing it and I like watching streams myself. So it's always good sort of giving out that sort of content. I've completed this video idea now, so we'll have to come up with something new. Doing the videos. Oh no, don't worry about that. That's okay. I'll have to get someone to record some of the games, because we had a good game on the weekend. We had a 3-3 draw. We got 3-1 up, and then we lost it. The Hearts, it's a good question. They're just some of the better grounds. So just to differentiate them from some of the more ho-hum stock standard grounds. I mean, Quambatook might not be amazing. It's not like crazy abandoned or anything, but they only stopped playing there a couple of years ago. Like 2 years ago, whatever it was, 3 years ago. So that's good. And I haven't been to Walpiop. Nearly went there. Nearly been there. I went to Linger, but that's as far as I went, and that was in the Murrayville video. So if you haven't watched that YouTube video yet, check that out, because that was a really cool video actually. So that's one, and then like you got the ones in Gippsland, Devon Welshpool, Wanron Woodside. So yeah, yep, Arch, South Australian time. Yeah, Southwest District has a bye. So I haven't told anyone this really, or not officially. I haven't locked it in yet, but I'm gonna go to not Warwick Nabil, but Brim. So Brim merged with Warwick. Brim merged with Warwick Nabil when the club finished, but it's sort of like Warwick Nabil sort of took them on a little bit. But anyway, they still play, I think, 2 games a year at Brim, and Warwick Eagles are playing there this weekend. So I'm gonna try and head out here, and they play Minyip Matoa. So, oh really? The Walpiop Research Centre is worth visiting as abandoned. Okay, it sounds a bit like the Kaibi one, but I don't know if that's completely abandoned or what the go is. But Kaibi had a very similar thing. There's actually some YouTube videos on Kaibi, on their abandoned bloody setup. But it's a very nice setup here in Brim, because it's such a small town. There is like a pub. I don't know how much of a pub it is, but nevertheless, it doesn't look like it's real used from that side. I guess they use it. I don't. Maybe not. I'm not too sure. But there is like there's a really weird shop here actually. It's down this street. This was in a YouTube video as well. I did a YouTube video on the Warwick Nabil grounds, and Brim was in it, so I can just show you that. Oh, there's like a CRT here. I'll just show you in the Warwick Nabil video, why not? So, if you haven't checked it out, best cricket grounds in the Wimmera.
Yeah. If we look behind this one,
actually,
it says
this scoreboard was up for sale. The ball is at it's at Birchip, isn't it? Check out Adelaide Oval since it's locked down for some chemicals. Really? I'm not sure what do you mean?
Scoreboard?
This scoreboard is up for sale, and I should do a video on this when I go there this weekend. I don't know how you meant to buy it. Like it was up for like a bloody fair bit as well. But so I went to Warrantaville first, and this is the main ground. Get a good look at it.
There's also a pool there, so
Anyway, and then Brim is like a smaller ground. I went here with Lockie as well.
the door
King
was.
Dreamer.
Yeah, the door was open.
Oh, right, okay. That's a bit scary. Every day,
But for a little town, it's quite a respectable setup.
9 to
Brim.
5, you can look at the doll collection in Brim. But there's not a lot of sponsor signs here. The lights aren't actually too bad for a very... Anyway, they
This is
merged
where
around
Matt
there.
Rosa is
2001, I
from.
thought it
That,
was. Golf club
played
stuff
for
is
West
over
Coast.
there. And I don't know where the golf course is. That might not be in existence anymore. Wouldn't... This is
Yeah. And the tennis court's
fairly
far too good.
Looks fairly good. They have a lot of
for a
upgrades
town of
for
its
courts
size,
in
like Victoria, they get
Victoria
bloody stocked
compared to
up
South
with good
Australia, I reckon.
facilities.
And at the back of the courts.
There's like a golf course out the back, and then
That is
a
actually
turf wicket. So they must have a cricket club base there, surely, for them to warrant a turf wicket. Oh, really? Chemical leak at the bridge is like the main entrance. Right, okay, I haven't caught up with that. You probably won't get a Hamilton Magpies jumper. None of them are really around. No, but I was on the radio jacks on the Hamilton radio, and the host was going to hook me up with one, but I haven't just got one yet. So hopefully we find one. He reckoned he knew where he'd find one, so I'll get one day. Anyway, that's Brim. So we'll probably wind it up there. Appreciate everyone dropping by. Never a cricketer, no. So I don't mind cricket, but I've never played it myself. Not really that good. So I don't know. I never got into it, but it's a good question. I like watching, I like following it, but I've just never played it. So nah. But anyway, thanks for joining. Show me your collection of soccer jerseys. Where are a few every now and then. Yeah, I can do that maybe another time, Arch. Because I do have a lot of soccer jerseys. Probably over a couple, maybe over 200 soccer jerseys. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that another time. But I appreciate everyone dropping by. Leave a comment if you're watching back this back on the replay. Appreciate you doing that. The Jeffcott ground, briefly, we'll just touch on that. So that's near Donald. It's not that far away, but it's so Donald, the Jeffcott Cricket Club played there for some reason. They played on like a second cricket ground before that. Yeah, I do have a messy one. Will I ever go to a Coorong Cats? Maybe. You know, like the other day they had like a rumor that Tom Hawkins was going to play for Coorong Cats. And then that was a fake rumor. If he did play for them, I was going to go, but that's funny. Maybe. I went last year to one game, but not a home game. So anyway, the Jeffcott Cricket Club played. Hold on, I need to show on my map. It was a pretty uninteresting place. Just near the hall, the public hall. Just in this area. So it was not. Oh, it was like a sign there. That's about it. It was in the video. I think that hole was there. That hole wasn't there. I'm pretty sure they removed that. Yeah, you can see that hole was removed. So the ground was here somewhere. So I don't think that's the pitch, but yeah, they had like a footy club there, like way back in the old days. Div 12 cricket match. Maybe we'll have to start that up. That might be my sort of go. I mean, you can play cricket at a fairly low level. There's not actually many cricket clubs like where I live. And like you probably to play cricket nowadays, you have to be like half decent to warrant it. The rumor about the guy that lives at the old pump tracks in... Yeah, no, I haven't. Arch? Don't want to know about that, maybe. That's interesting, though. One last quick question. Do you know the history of the ground at Canalpin? Drive past it on the way to Adelaide and was curious. Prime time. Yeah, so you can just briefly chat about that. So, Canalpin on the highway there. So, Canalpin, they were known as Border Downs because they merged with Umaley. So, Umaley, and they've actually restored this a little bit, Umaley. But they merged with them a long time ago, and they shared games between the two grounds after the merger briefly. But then they just played at Canalpin, and the Canalpin-based side, Border Downs, they played in the River Murray League. So that was up based around River Murray, Manning, Murray Bridge area, Tail and Bend. But then they ended up merging with Tintinara when the when the Tatiara League finished, and that was in 1992. So they became Border Downs Tintinara. So that was their third merger, and they remained in that league for a little while. But then they were struggling, so they actually went out and played. They shared games between Canalpin and Tintinara, and then they went out and played in the Mallee Football League in the 90s. So and they did really well. They actually dominated that league. So even though they're not really in the Mallee, they played in the Mallee League. Now the Mallee League finished end of 2022. So what did Border Downs Tintinara do? I think they were one of the clubs that wanted to leave. Yeah, Border Downs Tintinara is by far the best side in the SA Mallee. Yeah, O'Malley would know. G'day, Toby. So Border Downs Tintinara ended up merging with Canalpin. Ended up merging with Meningie, and we were just talking about this club, which is the Coorong Cats, and they share games between the three grounds. They play at Meningie, Canalpin, and Tintinara, and now they go back up in the River Murray League. So hopefully you understood that. That's a bit of a rundown of Canalpin, which is, I'd say it's probably maybe the worst ground out of those three. I don't know, but it's still got Border Downs Tintinara on here, which is wrong. They don't even have a servo, or they do. They have a servo? No, they don't. What is this field? The showgrounds. I wonder if they ever play at the showgrounds. I never thought of that. It's not real big, but if those trees weren't there. It says athletic field. But anyway, it's not real big ground either. But they used to have a servo here, but it's not anymore. Next to the ground. And you would have thought like a town on the Buddy Highway would have a servo. Border Downs Tintinara stuffed league, allegedly. I'm no knowledge on that, so we'll take it as it is. One thing on this road, when I go to Adelaide, why the hell do you have to slow down in Culburra? Like, this is how big it is. There's a tennis court, a hole, and like 3-4 houses, and you have to slow down to 80. I don't know why. And be careful when you drive through. Is it Canalpin or Tintinara? Because like people get picked up for speeding in those towns quite a fair bit. Yeah, that's right, Adam. Yeah, I was thinking like, why is there two in Tintinara but none in Canalpin? So I usually go to this one, but I don't know if either or is better. I have been to the other one, other servo, Shell. But usually I think at this one you can get like better food maybe. Primary school. Oh, Tintinara has a primary school. Does Canalpin have one? They might have to go to pretty sure they don't. They have to go to what's the name? No, sorry, you're talking about slowing down. Culburra doesn't have a primary school. Oh, Tinty's the one that they pick you up for speeding. Right, okay, Tintinara. You know why I know that? Because Shrey got picked up for speeding. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but yeah. Read about the Picola League investing Oh, sorry, interesting. They've two divisions to limit travel. Yeah, so it's really weird. The Picola League's gonna be like the bloody take over half of Victoria, I swear. Um, so the Golden Rivers clubs, which is Quambatook was one of them, but I can understand why Hay want to play in the Picola League because it's like a bit closer to them. But I don't know. Picola is like not even a big place, and it's gonna be like take over hundreds of kilometers of land. Picola is not real big. It's funny they dominate. They'll have a huge league now. Um, no, that's all right, Arch. I was going to end the live, but then we had a few people in the chat comment things, which I don't mind. When I was on the way to Geelong for a concert, there was this place. You got to be careful. There's um, people that are high most of the time. Oh, right, okay, Arch. I'll stay away from there. Jeez, I have to ask your old man where that is. I'll stick away. Right. How far will Hay travel? I think well, if they have two divisions, it will limit the travel. Because I think people were worried about Hay travelling to Dookie. Um, why do that? Google reckons everyone lives in the city, which is 3 hours. Which it's a bit like travelling from Murrayville to bloody Sedan or whatever it is in the Murray Valley League. Pretty much like Murrayville nearly have to travel to Adelaide to play. Just doing the double shift on the. Nah, I probably won't go on TikTok, but this has been good. Picola get a few from Bendigo. I had a cricket coach playing there, and one of my primary school teachers. Okay, I'm sure the Picola League get a few imports because they incorporate quite a few small sort of towns in that competition, don't they? Oh right, Arch, it's on here, small place, is it? But I'm pretty sure if they're going to have two divisions in the Picola League, they hey won't be making a 3 hour trip. I mean, even for me, that's pretty far, and I don't even play the games. I just go and watch. Oh, really? Wonthaggi has to? Yeah, Toby, that's interesting. Um, that the Gippsland competition is meant to be the premier comp in that area, but it doesn't include a lot of travelling. I wonder if that's the way of the future though. Bairnsdale to Wonthaggi. Bro, that is such a trek. Playing in the same league. They must not have been in that league forever. Um, I wonder how long they've been playing in that competition for. Need to learn more about Gippsland. 3 hours up and back. AFL used to excuse people won't travel 30 minutes for their games. Yeah. Well, yeah. some interesting excuses. But yeah, nearly 3 hours for a game is crazy considering like there's a million clubs in this area. But I guess the Gippsland League is like an elite competition, and I'm assuming um, in that area. But anyway, thanks for watching again. Subscribe if you haven't. We're nearly getting to 1,000, so we're slowly getting there. And yeah, cheers. We'll see you next time.